Grass by Sheri S Tepper is the wildest thing I've ever read. On the surface, it starts off kind of similar to Dune. An aristocratic family in outer space moves to a new planet to take charge, and they learn all about the planet's quirky residents and harsh environment. Except, instead of a brutal desert, we get a deadly grass plain. And instead of giant sandworms, we get... Well, we'll get to that, don't you worry. The main character, Marjorie Westriding Yarrier, moves to the planet Grass to investigate their immunity to a plague that has been ravaging the galaxy. But first, she has to make friends with the locals and find out what they know, and she does this by participating in their fox hunts. Now, these are not your usual fox hunts. They hunt the foxes from horseback. Now, as a professional horse rider, Marjorie knows a thing or two about horses. That is, until she notices the horses are a bit bigger than usual, also covered in deadly spikes, and have demonic red eyes. The horses also possess the power of mind control, and put their riders into a trance-like state while riding them, and the horses basically do the fox hunting on their own. Also, if you don't hold on tight, you might slip and get skewered by previously mentioned giant spikes sticking out of the horse's neck. Now, why anybody would participate in such an event is a very good question, and Marjorie is naturally a little skeptical. But she has no choice if she wants to get to know the local Grassians better and find out more about the plague, so off she goes. As she continues her adventure, she learns more about an ancient alien race that went extinct on the planet, and also discovers the foxes they're hunting have sentience, and starts to question why they're hunting them, and who is really the good guys and the bad guys on this planet. Now, this is where stuff starts to get really crazy, but I'm about to have to get into some spoilers, so if I've got you hooked already, go ahead and give Grass a read and come on back. Otherwise, it's time for a biology lesson. We go on to learn more about the ecosystem of this planet and its wildlife. So, there's like these big slugs that wander the grass fields like grazing or whatever, right? Very fascinating. But suddenly, when they mature, their back rips open in a burst of blood, and out comes a wolf. They pretty much Pokemon evolve into a whole new animal. Pretty weird. But then, when the wolf gets old enough, its back rips open in a burst of blood, and out comes the demon horse with spikes. Yes, the very same ones the Grassites use to hunt foxes on. And these horses are hungry for blood. Like, really hungry. When Marjorie witnesses the horses prancing around in their little natural habitat in the wild, she notices some intriguing behavior. They begin stomping a message into the dirt. It's in the tongue of the ancient aliens long extinct on the planet, but she deciphers it using Duolingo, the sponsor of today's... Just kidding. She translates it with a book or some boring shit like that, and the message turns out to say, joy of killing. So yeah, turns out these horses are really crazy about hunting and killing foxes. But this is where it gets even more weird. The horses secretly have a fourth, final evolution, if you will. Eventually, you guessed it, their back rips open in a burst of blood, and out comes the fox. The very creatures the horses love hunting so much are their own ancestors. You see, with each evolution, the creatures' IQ score increases. The slugs are obviously, pretty stupid, and the foxes have full human-level intelligence. The horses, somewhere in the middle, are smart enough to brainwash humans into joining their hunt, but too stupid to realize they're basically murdering their own ancestors. Also, we discover that the ancient aliens that went extinct millennia ago, they were all killed when the horses suddenly turned on them and trampled them all to death. And it turns out the cycle is about to continue. Marjorie realizes the horses are about to go on another killing spree, preparing to massacre all the grassers living on the planet now. So, I won't spoil the ending or whatever, but yeah, going to war with a tribe of evil horses is not what I expected from this book at all. Now, don't get me wrong, I actually loved this book. I was most certainly entertained the entire time, and it was nice to see some creativity instead of just, generic sci-fi. The ecology of this planet was quite detailed, and it was a good example of how to do some cool world building. There's also actually another protagonist who it switches between with Marjorie for the point of view, this monk guy who works for the church that rules the whole galaxy basically, who uncovers some more conspiracies. So I didn't spoil everything about the plot. If you're interested, go give it a read. You definitely will not be bored.